Warm greetings. Today is Thursday, August 13, 2026. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 6:15 in the morning, local time, in the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico, where we continue to closely monitor two tropical waves that have chances of tropical cyclone development. The first is located near longitude 43 degrees west and was designated as Invest 92. On the other hand, we have the second tropical wave, which is located near longitude 30 degrees west and yesterday afternoon was designated as the Invest 94. And as if that were not enough, we have a third tropical wave that is beginning to emerge from Africa, and that we will be monitoring, although we have plenty of time to eventually talk about whether it will have chances of development. And analyzing the infrared satellite image, I can tell you that Invest 92 continues to show signs of tropical cyclone organization, and I believe it is close to becoming a tropical depression. The next name on the list would be Tropical Storm Dolly and then Tropical Storm Edouard. We will see if at 8 in the morning the National Hurricane Center once again increases the chances of tropical cyclone development, which remain at 80% within 48 hours. In other words, the window for development will be during the next 2 days before it begins to feel the effects of the wind shear that is located near the Lesser Antilles. And regarding the specialized track models, there have not been many changes. They continue to project a generally westward track, crossing over the Lesser Antilles on Saturday and moving through the Caribbean Sea, passing south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Although remember that the moisture field is quite broad, so showers and rainfall are expected for portions of the northern Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic during this weekend. For our followers in the Central American region, do not be alarmed if you see these tracks heading toward Nicaragua and Honduras, because as I mentioned, the wind shear that will impact Invest 92 will be so strong that it is very likely to dissipate south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. For example, here in red you can see the wind shear anomalies from the southwest for next Saturday, just as Invest 92 begins to enter the Caribbean, and this is why the specialized intensity models show gradual strengthening during the next 48 hours. In general, most of them have Invest 92 reaching the classification of a weak tropical storm. And beginning Saturday, notice how it begins to weaken until dissipating between Sunday and Monday thanks to the wind shear. Now let's talk a little about Invest 94, which is the tropical wave located southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It also shows signs of tropical cyclone organization, and at 2 in the morning the National Hurricane Center increased the chances of development during the next 48 hours to 30%, and the chances of development during the next 7 days to 50%. Judging by the infrared satellite image, it appears to be becoming better organized. So I suspect that at 8 in the morning the National Hurricane Center will once again increase the chances of development, and there is a possibility that it could also become a tropical depression or tropical storm. In the event that Invest 92 becomes Tropical Storm Dolly, Invest 94, if it develops into a tropical storm, would be called Tropical Storm Edouard. Now that it has been designated as Invest 94, we have specialized models with track and intensity projections. Regarding the track, the models agree that during the next 3 days it will move generally westward, but beginning Saturday it should start turning toward the west-northwest, possibly taking the system just northeast of the Caribbean in about 6 to 7 days. Now, remember that this is subject to change, especially because the system is in the process of forming. The big difference compared with Invest 92 is that Invest 94 appears to have less strong wind shear affecting its circulation when it approaches the Caribbean region. In fact, compare the wind shear projection for next Wednesday and notice the big difference compared with the conditions that Invest 92 will be facing next Saturday. This means that Invest 94 will very likely have better opportunities for strengthening, and that is precisely what the specialized intensity models are showing us. Notice that in general they all agree on gradual strengthening during the next 5 to 7 days. Most of the models already show a tropical storm between Saturday and Sunday, and some show a hurricane in about 5 to 6 days. And if we analyze the members of the global models, here we have the projection from the American model. Notice that they project Invest 92 moving completely westward until crossing over the Lesser Antilles, but all of them dissipate at north of Venezuela and south of Puerto Rico, thanks to the wind shear that will affect it between Saturday and Sunday. Meanwhile, we also have approximately 50% of the members developing the second tropical wave, the Invest 94, but maintaining a track toward the northeast of the Caribbean. So preliminarily it appears that this system could pass northeast of the Caribbean, but again this will depend on how its organization process evolves. Meanwhile, in the case of the European model members, they have Invest 92 reaching tropical depression or tropical storm status, crossing over the Lesser Antilles on Saturday and dissipating between Saturday and Sunday over the waters of the eastern Caribbean Sea. Meanwhile, in the case of Invest 94, the European model members are not as enthusiastic about the idea of strengthening it. For now, they keep it relatively weak, but with a northwestward component that could take the system northeast of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. And in the case of Google's DeepMind model, it also has Invest 92 remaining weak as it reaches the Caribbean and dissipating on Saturday. Meanwhile, in the case of Invest 94, it maintains a track toward the northeast of the Caribbean and approximately 20% of the members develop a tropical storm. Now, as I have mentioned during the past few days, the reality is that in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and the Lesser Antilles, for now, we should not be concerned, although obviously we are closely watching the progress of both disturbances, and in particular, we are interested in knowing whether Invest 92 will bring rainfall activity during the weekend to alleviate the drought affecting the Eastern Caribbean. Well, you should know that the projections continue to indicate that showers are expected during the weekend, basically for all of the Lesser Antilles, with rainfall accumulations between 50 and 75 millimeters, while for portions of eastern Puerto Rico between 2 and 4 inches and for portions of the Dominican Republic between 50 and 75 millimeters. So we will continue watching to see if it finally rains as we anticipate. Importantly, I want to take this opportunity to point out that although the center of circulation could remain well south of Puerto Rico, the wind shear could be dragging the moisture farther north, so the northern portion of Invest 92 should be the one that produces the greatest amount of rainfall. And in addition to the rain, remember that a windy weekend is expected in orange. You can see the areas that could experience wind gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour from Saturday through Sunday. So continue to pay attention to the bulletins from the National Weather Service and the updates from the National Hurricane Center. And under this special coverage, I will record the next video during the afternoon hours today. So if you like this content, I invite you to give this video a like. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so that you receive notifications when I record new videos. Please share with friends and family so that they can stay informed. And with that I say goodbye. Until this afternoon. Have a good day, everyone.